Do you miss Earth? These endless blue skies.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Groovinator from Raiders of the Lost Flicks. Remember, if it's a bad movie, we want to know about it. And I've been dying for the opportunity to stop bitching about things for a while and talk about something that I actually like, and that's the TV show The Expanse. I'm always complaining about how we have a lack of intelligent science fiction in the world, and my friend Nick Uttam from the World Class Bullshitter said, you know what, you should probably check out The Expanse. It's worth your time. And I had tried to watch it previously, and it took me a while to get through it, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to stick with it, because like I said, there's a lot of world building and whatnot, and then once I started getting into it, by the time I got into a couple of seasons, I got absolutely hooked. And as I promised in many videos back, I wanted to review these episodes, these older episodes, before the new season started. So I'm going to get right into that now, but first of all, oh look, it's Nick Uttam from the World Class Bullshitters. What a surprise!
I was just walking by, and I saw you were talking about The Expanse, and I thought I'd drop in. I didn't. Am I interrupting anything? Are we good? Are we fine?
Nick Uttam has a nose for The Expanse. If somebody's talking about it, he wants in on it. So, by the way, this is spoiler full. So if you haven't seen The Expanse, make sure you turn this off, go watch the season 1, and you can come back and watch our review. So, spoilers from here on out, full spoilers, everything you need to know. You probably didn't watch this video if you've not seen it, but, you know.
True. Also, I got something in the mail I need to show you.
Yes, we need to see this, and I'm going to give you a single so you can show that off.
Okay. All right,
There we go.
Let me get the mic to the side here so it can kind of hear me. All right, there we go. But yeah, the giant book. This thing. Let's see. Can I open it up?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think the art directors are going to come after you for concept art. I don't know about you, but I love concept art, and
me
especially
too.
in science fiction.
Me too. And this is full of it. I mean, you get all the ships and everything in there. It's great.
Another one I want to
amazing.
get my hands on. I don't know if they made a book for that movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise, but I just absolutely love the artwork and direction in that one as well. So. But yeah, this one here has some really cool... everything has that lived-in look, but...
The thing I love is that there's no... Like, you're within the solar system of the one we know, and there's no aliens, kind of. There's no weird alien stuff happening, or we're trying to make contact, or they're over there, and we're trying to get to them, or whatever. It's just... You're dealing with humans that have had to deal with space for, like, 500 years, and how they physically change, and how we've kind of become this spacefaring race, even though, we were supposed to, like, be nice in the solar system, and, get resources, and you live amongst the stars, but we just turned into, like, assholes, more so than normal.
We took all of our human problems and took them to space with us. But I will probably have to reference Star Trek, because we have to use something as, like, a balance or a litmus to compare to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Star Trek's a good way to look at it, even though it is very utopian.
Well, that's how you got me into this. I says, I need something like Star Trek where there's, like, good stories, and you're like, dude, The Expanse. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it is very Star Trek. If Star Trek was kind of like relegated to our solar system, it's very, very much that, which I'm fine with. Even with the drives and everything they use and stuff, it's fine. But it's just good. It's kind of dystopian sci-fi, but not really.
The thing you notice about it right off the bat. Okay, like a perfect example in Star Trek, whenever they take their maiden voyage on whatever ship it happens to be it Voyager, Deep Space Nine, the Next Generation, it's always this big majestic thing with the music playing in the orchestral music playing in the background, and it's like everybody's all pumped and hey, we're going out into space. This one, everybody fucking hates space. It's this horrible, awful thing. They show you that right from the get-go. These people are out, these ice holders are out mining rocks in space, and this guy gets his arm knocked off right away. And all he's concerned about is what kind of a new arm he's going to get once the insurance comes through. That is the most human thing you never hear in a Star Trek show. You know what I mean? Like, I lost my arm. Are the Belders going to pay for this, or is the company going to pay for it? I want a Belder-made arm. farm. You know.
Oh yeah. And you immediately kind of get that. You immediately figure out that there are like not really factions, but groups of people who are, from different areas. You have the Earthers who are obviously on Earth and people who have never left the planet. You have Belters who are in the asteroid belt working, who are the ones who are the ones mining the ice for water and fuel, who are trying to do that and bring it back and make money off of it. You have the Martians, which are just people who were sent to Earth to Mars to colonize it, but because they were becoming too powerful. This is in the book. I think this is in the first book. Because they're coming too powerful, what they started doing is taking the terraforming machines, started making them into ships and war machines, and things they could use themselves in order to get to the asteroid belt, pull in resources, and to make things themselves, make more ships.
Would you say that this first season, because we're strictly talking about season 1 right now?
Correct. Yeah.
Do you think this show does a good job of setting up the universe?
Yeah, in a very like quick fashion. In a weird way, it's hard to think about because I know so much about the show and the people and the background of everything now. When I first watched it, I was I kind of knew what was going on, and it's kind of. I know they explain the factions more so, I think, in season 2 than season 1. Season 1 is literally
You read the books before you started watching the show?
No. I read the books afterwards, but it's one of those things where it's like I still enjoyed the show, I still loved it, but I learned more about who these people are, what their day-to-day life is by reading the books.
You feel like it gives more gravity and weight to what's going on.
Yeah, and in that aspect of reading the books after watching the show, I have more. To me, it adds more weight to the characters, to what they're doing, to what they're dealing with, and what their choices are and how they do certain things, because of what I know and because of what I've read. Just because I want to know more about them. I want a broader view of what's going on. And I mean, once again, this is probably the best. Show they've done that's come out of a book, because you have the people who are writing the book, working with people who are working with producers and things like that to make a show that is coherent to what they want. They even have physicists working on the show to make sure that they're like accurate as much as they can be to like what's going on in space and the battles and the ships, the way everything's done. And I really like that. And once again, like I love Star Wars, love Star Trek. They're wonderful, but they're always like they seem extremely out of reach and far into science fiction. Like they're like that baseline for science fiction. Like this is science fiction. This is what science fiction is. As to the Expanse is more science than fiction.
A lot of this is rooted in reality. They go either way. Yeah. And one of the things that I was kind of alluding to is like right from the get-go, when they have to change course, they have to strap themselves into a chair, and they got actual like chemicals pumped into their body. They got to put the mouth guard in, bite down, strap down, hold, and it's like we're gonna do a hard burn, and everybody's just in pain. It's just absolute misery as they flip the ship around and go towards a distress call. There's basically 3 stories going on that all converge by the end of the first season. You got Joe Miller, so he's like the investigator, and he's literally got the hat, and I think that's kind of to give the little bit of that like Philip Marlowe detective type to feel to it. I was getting like a little bit of that detective noir thing going on with that.
Yeah.
He's investigating Julie Mao, who was a silver spoon who got hooked up with the wrong crowd, and went on a ship called the Scopuli.
Yeah. Julie Mao is the daughter of Jules Pierre Mao, who is the person who owns, I want to say he owns like the rights to the Epstein Drive, and he sells that to people and does certain things, and like he also does things with like he's also an arms salesman, I think. I forget exactly like
he does some shady shit. Then you got James Holden and the crew of the Canterbury, and they're on an ice holder. That's where they mine asteroids for ice, and they melt the ice down and sell the water to Mars and the belt and the stations, correct?
Yeah, correct. And also they use because water is universal. Water is universally used. It can be used for it is used for both oxygen, fuel, and as drinking water as well.
It's the most valuable commodity in this particular universe. So they're the guys that go out and you get right away, these are a lot of people that necessarily didn't want the job. They're just doing it for the money. They're not doing it for the prestige. Especially James, who this is one of my complaints. Jonathan Banks is in the show. You remember him from Breaking Bad, right? He played Mike.
Yeah. He had his moment.
I got all excited when he's there, and his moment is just fleeting.
Whoa!
There's a wonderful scene between, I think it's Holden and the navigational officer, the female.
Yes, I was just going to say, here's literally what I wrote down, Nick. Fucking in zero G is hot. It is. They're fucking in zero G.
It's funny. It's funny because like when I watch that scene first watching the show, like watching the show fully through, I remember that being the scene they kept showing on the advertisements years ago, because they kept showing this like space sex scene on Sci-Fi. I was like, what? I was like, and like when I watched
sex sells, right?
Well, I mean, 100%. But like, it's one of those things. Like, think about it now, and like watching it after the fact, I was like, I remember this advertisement, and then it hit me. I was like, oh, they're showing me the Expanse. It's a wonderful show that I didn't know about years ago. It took me this long to get to it, so
they're literally, yeah, that's literally our introduction to James Holden. They're floating in zero G in I guess her quarters,
yeah,
having sex. They're going at it, and then all of a sudden the gravity kicks in. They just go and they hit the floor hard. I'm like, well, there's something you don't see every day. So James Holden on a Canterbury encounter the Scopuli, leads a shuttle crew to investigate it.
While he's on the Canterbury, he runs into Naomi Nagata and Amos, and also the navigational officer, Alex Kamal.
There's a distress call. They're heading towards Ceres Station to drop their payload of ice that they've and get paid and go on leave and all that kind of stuff. And he actually logs the distress call with corporate and doesn't tell anybody that he did it. Like, you see him actually doing it, and and the captain comes in. He's pissed. He's like, some asshole, logged a distress call with corporate. These are the kind of people we're dealing with. They give no fucks. This is not. They're on the shuttle. They go to investigate it. They don't find a crew. They find a hole in the side of the ship. Yeah. They're getting ready to cut out the flight recorder data so they can figure out what happened to the ship.
All of a sudden, they get, I think it's like, I want to say it's like 4 stealth ships like show up and the reason they show up is because their drive plumes like ignite and they can see them immediately. So that makes them nervous, and I think they jump from the ship that they're investigating to their shuttle, and they try to get the stealth ships to chase them, and then the stealth ships fire what they think is onto the shuttle, and they try to scrape along. The
missiles fly right past the shuttle and go directly to the Canterbury. And so they're stuck on this beat up ass shuttle. Their home ship is busted. So
right before the Martian the Martian ship picks them up, James Holden makes the wonderful move to blast out a message to all of the solar system saying that
that's how the Mars freighter finds them. They pick up on the beacon. Right.
Yeah, and then James Holden says that Mars shot the Canterbury and blew it up, and that starts this whole like social war.
Yeah, that's the major trigger right there. So that brings me to the third story that's going on, which is Chris Jen. Jen is trying to investigate the origin of the stealth ships.
It takes you a while to realize what her goal is, what her thing is, because you think it's only Earth, or it's only like her personally, but then you realize, I think towards the end of the season, is that she is a proponent for human life. She's very pro-life. She wants to save everybody. She doesn't want any war. She wants to make sure everybody's cool and everybody has what they need. But she will step on somebody's neck to make sure people have what they need and what they want. Because
there's a lot of world building on season 1. And I got to admit that some of it kind of lost me on the first passing.
Yeah. That's I think that's a lot of first season shows, especially sci-fi, because and if it's if you were dealing with a comedy or drama, it's very easy to deal with because it's we're dealing with life, and it's very so almost like the snapshot of that is the drama or the comedy show. But science fiction, you have to build this stuff into somebody's mind and make it to an understanding to where they have the framework of what's going on and like the limitations and what's happening and what they can and can't do and what certain people are. And it's just, and like, that's why the first season I think is really dense and really slow and kind of difficult to get through, because you have to deal with so much storytelling and so much, like, as the story's going on, you're learning about the parameters of like their world and what they're able to do and can't do and what things are going on in it as the story goes on, as they're building everything. So it's like, and I think it took me a little while to get through season 1 as well, because
that was my thing. On the third passing, I have to confess that I like the fact that they were the writers and producers were trying really hard to not exposition you to death. What basically happens is Joe Miller figures out the entire plot. he figures it all out. And the thing that's neat about him is when you're introduced to him, he is a detective that doesn't want to be a detective. They call him Star Helix, and he works aboard Ceres Station. Okay, he's a belter. The belters hate him. They call him Wellwalla. Traitor to his people.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is the belters have a lingo, and you have to kind of keep up with it because some of these terms come back. Eventually you'll digest it and remember everything, but the first time you'll be like, wait, what did he say? Can you back that up again?
And that's like, and that's one thing I love about that is that they have their own language, because that's what would happen in that kind of world. You have different people with different languages going up to space, and they have to communicate certain ways. And the belters being, I think it's because the belters are always in suits, and they have sign languages, they have sign signals as opposed to their own language, so that they can communicate really easily and get things across because
quickly and not waste a lot of oxygen is what
correct
I got from it. Because they call them rock hoppers. I love that term too. Because they're always out in space and in low gravity. And also we didn't mention that they are also, a lot of them, their bones don't develop properly in 0G, and they're frail, kind of skinny. Some of them at least, like they don't adapt right to growing up in 0G. So it's kind of
you do see a couple of them in the first episode, like one of the spies that Christian, one of the spies that Christian gets is this really tall, skinny guy, and that's actually how they're supposed to look in the book. That's the way Naomi Nagata looks in the book, is that way. But they couldn't do that for everybody because it's a TV show and you can't so you have to reevaluate the way you show them. So they give them the neck tattoos.
So what Joe Miller figures out is that Julie Mao went aboard the Scopuli.
She knew about the stealth ship. She knew about technology, being made somewhere. And she wanted to go to stop it this way that they wouldn't kill the belters.
Right. Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah, because she knew that, if this new technology, this new killing machine, these stealth ships came out, they would immediately axe the belters. They're the first ones to go because of the lowest hanging fruit. So she wanted to go through and find them and destroy them. But what happened is that they found her, and they also had this blue goo on board as well. So her and her belter ship got captured by the Earth stealth ship. I want to say, because at some point you realize it was made by Earth it was made by Jules Pierre Mao's company for the purpose of their experimentation they were doing. That's why they did it. So
the Canterbury went to investigate the Scopuli. The stealth ships blew up the Canterbury to cover up what they may or may not have found.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? So Joe Miller figures all that out and gets instantly fired because the chief of the Star Helix is in the payroll of the OPA. The OPA is like the terrorist organization of the Belters, okay?
OPA is Outer Planets Alliance. That's what it stands for.
There you go. So some of them view them as freedom fighters, some view it as terrorists. This is where the politics come in. It does not paint any particular group of people in a black or white hat. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, everybody's very, very gray because they've all had their interactions.
Everybody has their motivations. Everybody has their own political affiliations based on those motivations or things that might have happened to them. So
yeah, exactly.
You can't say these are bad people, but there are people on the show that says those belters are bad people. But that's what's going on. He gets fired because the chief of police is in the OPA's pocket, and he instantly gets fired. So he's like, well, fuck it, I'm done. I'm going to go to Eros Station, because he found out that the ship that Julie Mao is on was docked at Eros Station. So he sells some shit that he finds in her apartment, buys a one-way ticket, goes to Eros Station because he's determined. Not only is he determined to solve this case, he's also in love with Julie Mao because she has something that he's been lacking his entire life, which is a cause to champion. You know what I mean? Like he respects her, and that's how he falls in love with her, because his whole life he's had a void. He never got married. He was kind of a crooked cop for a long time, and then until he took this case, he just didn't give a shit. And then he followed this case so far that it literally got him fired. So
it got him fired. It almost got him killed a couple times by the OPA. I mean, he's gone through the ringer, and he's just like, fuck it, I'm out. And then he just gets a straight shot to Eros. So
Also, if you guys are fans of Battlestar Galactica and you like all the scenes where people get put into airlocks and shoved out into space, this is your show, all right? I don't know about you, Nick. That shit never gets old to me. And they're like, they're going to space me. They're going to space me. Oh, my God.
Yeah, they're going to space me. They're gonna throw me out an airlock. Like, all that shit happens. And it's one of those things where it's like... And also, one thing I find kind of interesting is that you're around Christian Avasarala, who is like a proponent for just life in general, but you find like other people who don't give a shit and will just space somebody just like that, and it's kind of like you get this weird thing where like a lot of people just don't give a shit. They will space somebody for the smallest infraction, and it's just really weird how like that is dealt with and that is seen in the show, because it's just like you haven't like some people just don't care, because like, it's one of those things where like, you know, we're on Earth right now and we're looking at like, oh man, if we had space, we had that stuff, it'd be awesome. It's like those people have had it for so many years, it's normal to them, and they don't care. They just like, to them it's like we're trapped in an oxygen bubble, like hurling towards this planet, getting the stuff. Like it's a job.
That's also the huge contrast between this and Star Trek. At least early Star Trek, you know, it was optimistic, it was humanist. You know, man had moved past their problems. You know, and this one, everybody took their petty problems, went to space, and amped it up 5 notches.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I'm not going to say that this is a completely grim and dire situation, because you do get from James Holden's crew that sense of optimism, that moral compass. James Holden is definitely, he's legit. You know what I mean? Like, he cares.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
He doesn't want anybody to think he cares, but he totally fucking cares. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he doesn't like to show that he cares, but he does care.
There is problem solving, like on Star Trek, but on this one, it's mostly, it starts with an argument and then ends with them just, fuck it, we're going to do this, and then they do that, and then they hug and kiss and make up. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I like that. Every time. So the show, the first season literally ends. There's a spy that, now Chris Jen hired that spy, correct?
Yeah. She gets it from somebody else, and you know, wanted to get in, and like, you know, and to me she got the wrong spy, because that guy was an asshole.
Absolutely, this guy was a dick. Okay, so let me explain a spy on this show. He's a corporate asshole. Okay, he is a spy for hire, and he's just a regular Joe average plain person. Okay. He has an implant eye, okay? He has a neural network attached to his brain. He's got all kinds of shit surgically enhanced so he can record things, access terminals. Like, you'll see him looking at something, he can access little menus and shit like that. And nobody knows any of this shit is going on. And he's the type of guy that will play both sides to get his way. And it actually ends like he's a stowaway. They go to Eero Station, and they find that people are getting sick. They're dying. They don't know why. They don't explain it. But we do see the very last scene is the spy guy gets sucked up by some alien, God knows whatever it is. Roll credits. Like, oh shit. So it ends on a cliffhanger.
And that's basically like the proto-molecule stuff that's there that they've encountered, like growing and like, you know, changing Eros. But in the book it's way more visceral, because you see body parts attached to different body parts crawling around and becoming like almost animals in a weird way. It's, and like the way they describe it in the book is really gross and terrifying.
Well, if you've been living under a rock, the Expanse started off on Sci-Fi Channel, and then was later canceled by the Sci-Fi Channel, and then renewed and picked up by Amazon. So between the third or fourth season, people start swearing more. You start seeing some nudity, because like, oh yeah, that's right, Amazon allows these things to happen now. So the good thing is, though, the entire thing is in 4K, and this is a gorgeous show.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like there was a difference between season 3 and season 4. But it's not jarring, and it wasn't. I think it was giving them more freedom to do a better product than it was to like, oh, we're, you know, since we're on just the streaming network now, we can say fuck shit and show, you know, like, you know, TNA all the time. It's like, no, we can, but we don't need to, and we're going to use the language. You know, we're going to obviously make the language more real and, you know, use more profanity. It's fine, but they did a good job with what they did, you know. I
think the special effects got a little bit better too once Amazon picked them up, because you could see that the budget had increased, and because like some of the in season 1, some of the exterior stuff looks a little shiny, looks a little like you might have rendered it a little bit in CG, which obviously they did, but you don't ever want to say, oh yeah, that's CG. If you can tell the difference between, you know, actual models and CG, it's never a good thing. I mean, I'm saying it's good enough. It's great. You know, I mean, I would say...
Of course.
I would say like video game quality. You know, like a top AAA video game type quality, at least for the exterior stuff. So
yeah, definitely. And you know, once again, you're doing a sci-fi show. The first season is going to be a little rough, regardless. I mean, look at any sci-fi show in the first season.
Well, I was going to say, sci-fi isn't exactly one for spending money on special effects, but this one, I think, even for a sci-fi show, went way out of its way. And one of my we're going to start getting into our likes now, but one of the things I like is the attention to detail in 0G, the way people's hair kind of flows around.
Yeah,
they can't even get that shit right in Aquaman. You know, so Aquaman, a $200 million budget movie, and their hair is perfectly straight under the water as they talk into the ocean. You know. Yeah, this one you see the first time you see Julie Mao, she's in a closet in space, and she can't, no gravity. She can't get her gravity boots to work on the floor, and she finds a little drop of water, and she just kind of slowly grabs it, and, you know, puts the water up in there, because you know how hard that is to find, because they do set that up. But I like those little details like that.
And the way she's trapped in that compartment is the way it is in the book as well. Like, it's very, I mean, obviously reading it in the book is more dramatic than watching it, because like you hear what she's thinking and like what's going on in her mind and things like that, as opposed to seeing it. It's a little different, but they did a good job with what they did. They conveyed the isolation and the depression and just what she's going through in that moment, and it's really good.
This is definitely a show that doesn't glorify space. It is a horrible, awful thing.
It's funny because like space and space travel is almost a byproduct of what they have to do. It's like it's the vessel. It's like driving a car in like a car show. It's like they have to do this thing in order to perpetuate the show. They have to be in space. They have to be in these ships and everything to keep going.
Nobody's excited for a road trip, you know, except for maybe Alex. Alex likes the road trip because he's the guy that drives the ships, and he gets really attached to his new Martian cruiser. And there's over references of coffee. James Holden has this thing for coffee. In the beginning, he's making coffee out of matchsticks, and then by the time he gets his Rosinati, he finds a whole stash of, like, you know, Starbucks grade coffee beans, and you know. And he's just like, oh. Well,
and also you have to think, is like, that is a Martian ship. Those are Martian coffee beans that are in those packs.
Yeah.
Those aren't Earth coffee beans. Those are Martian coffee beans in those packs.
I wonder if their coffee is stronger than Earth coffee. You'd think it would have to be, you know. It's probably laced with heroin.
I mean, yeah, we'll just go with yes. We'll just go with yes.
So I mentioned some of my likes. What are some of your likes, Nick? The show is so far. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this show, you know, got me through a dark time of, like, you know, really hating Star Wars, not giving two shits about it.
Me too, dude.
So I needed good sci-fi, and it really, you know, filled that vacuum for me. And it's like, and you know, I was really researching and really getting into it, and I love the fact that they really try to adhere to, you know, physics and science as much as they can, you know, because that to me makes it more real and more feasible and more and just better, because, you know, once again, like Star Wars, you have light swords in the Force, and Star Trek, you have like warp speed and, you know, can go to different galaxies, things like that, whatever. But in this, you know, they're they're bound by physics and laws. I think the only thing that doesn't make sense is their engines, but that's here nor there. I mean, it's one aspect; it's not a big deal. But you know, everything else to deal with is just like they're, you know, it's everything's very day to day with them, and they're just kind of used to it, and it's, you know, wherever, like, just looking through.
One day there might not be anything going wrong, and then the next day they might be, you know, fighting for their lives because they're running out of oxygen because there's a hole somewhere, you know. I mean,
yeah, and it's I like it because they've done that aspect, and the fact that, you know, even with these people being like, you know, across the solar system, they're still dealing with all kinds of ridiculous, almost normal problems, you know, to us. And it's just funny that it's, you know, like, that's just what's happening. I really dig it because, you know, there's so much going on in it, and the three stories, like, even though they do converge towards the end, it's still a really wonderful show, because the characters aren't two-dimensional. There's no distinct good guy and bad guy. Everybody can
That's
be
what I like about
who
it.
they.
Yeah.
Anybody can be the bad guy or the good guy in like in what decision they make in the situation.
You can play, watch the game. You can guess, like, is this going to be a good guy, or is this good guy going to eventually be good, or is this? They also do the classic thing too, and I like it when shows do this. You have your main crew. This is a spoiler episode, so one of the characters just loses their head like midway through the season.
Oh God!
And they kind of make a joke out of it. Like they never really liked the guy anyway. It's like. And nobody's safe in these kind of shows.
By the way, when Adam says he loses his head, he's not saying in a mental
like he went
capacity.
Crazy. No, his head comes off his body. Yeah,
his head gets detached from his body.
When they're on the Martian freighter, they're getting attacked by stealth ships, and shells are going through the hull of the side of the ship, and he happens to be sitting there. All of a sudden, you hear a ping.
Trust me, we're all going to be just fine.
Kudos to that whole effect for pulling that off, but I was just kind of like, what's happening?
Because first time I saw it, and you hear you see the change of you see what's happening, and you don't know what happened until they pan over to it, and you're like, oh, his head's gone.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Nick, what would you give?
First season, I'm gonna give 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. Not perfect, but damn close. Really good season. A little bit dense to get through, but if you do get through, you're paid off quite well in season 2. Once again, wonderful character building. Nobody's two-dimensional. They're all very, they're good for what they are in that moment. You do learn more as you go on, obviously, but it's just a wonderful show, man. It's just one of those things that really is very humanizing in its aspect of being a science fiction show, and I really dig that, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. So
yeah, I think I would have to agree with that as well. I think I would go 4 out of 5 as well. It takes a second to pick up, because like I said, this universe has its own language, it has its own rules, it has its own principles. It's not something you can absorb overnight. People have evolved over time. They've developed their own languages. It's a lot to take in at first. This is not a pew-pew laser show. You know what I mean? I can't stress that enough. This is political struggles. This is people fighting for survival. This has problem solving. There's also some very intelligent science fiction going on as well. I never felt like this show was ever talking down to me or trying to dumb it down to where I didn't know what was going on. In fact, there were some times where I thought that, hey, could you slow down a little bit? I need to catch up with you here, maybe back it up. But it's easy to complain about stuff that's not good, or things that you used to like that are not good anymore. But you have to be willing to give new stuff a chance, and you have to support it. If you want more of that kind of entertainment, you have to make sure you support it. I want you to watch this show. I mean, it's going to get 6 seasons. For sci-fi, that's really good.
Oh, and definitely. I mean, from what I've heard from you, is that I think the first Star Trek, the very first seasons of Star Trek, the very first one, only got 3 seasons.
Only got 3 seasons. So granted, those seasons were a lot longer, but I mean, it got canceled. It was supposed to be a 5-season show, and it got canceled after 3. But it's one thing to say you like a science fiction, or that you're craving new science fiction. It's something else to actually go and watch it and support it, and make sure that you tell your friends about it and watch it, so that they'll keep making more of it. Otherwise, I want to thank you, Nick, for driving me towards this show and getting me hooked on it, so that I can be excited about season 5, because it feels really good talking about something that you like for a change.
Yeah, and I mean, trust me, I've probably watched the first 3 seasons at least 4 times before season 4 came out, and I was just like, I just really loved it. And then when I heard Amazon got it, and they were shooting 4, and I was keeping up with all social media and everything, I was real happy. And then that came out, and that was really good and really awesome, and I really loved it. Then season 5 got announced. It's dropping here soon. Like, I'm just ecstatic. I mean, it's good. Like you said, it's good to have good sci-fi, and we need to support this. And unfortunately, what's going to happen with this, as we've talked about before, is that 4 years from now, like 4 years after season 6 comes out, everyone's going to catch on to it and watch it and wonder, why didn't I watch this earlier?
Well,
and
why
then
didn't they make more of these? Because you didn't watch them. Yeah, you didn't watch them. But have a fantastic day. We'll see you on the next one. This is the Groovinator and Nick and Tam from the World Class Bullshitters signing out. Peace.